finally, we have got to the point where I can actually say I have played Halo Infinite. And we're going to talk about that today. We're going to be reviewing Halo Infinite for the Xbox Series X. I have a lot to say about this game. I have a lot, so some positives, some negatives, but let's break that down. Let's get into it. But before we get on to the video, definitely hit that like button if you guys enjoyed the video. You can always subscribe to the channel for weekly content. And don't forget to go there and follow me at Twitter at LordAddictILP. And don't forget, every Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Eastern, when we're doing the football stuff, you can always catch the Iron Lords podcast on the YouTube channel you're seeing this review on. And now, without any further ado, let's talk about Halo Infinite. I would show a box or something. I don't got a box for Halo Infinite. I got the thing digitally, but let's roll it. What's going on, you guys? Lord Addict here, coming at you from ILP. You guys know how it is. We're going to be reviewing Halo Infinite for the Xbox Series X. Now, for those of you that's been following the podcast for a long time, you know that in terms of Halo, I've always been very, very open on my distrust on certain things that 343 has done in the past, and whether or not I feel like they would be able to hold that lamp up and really shine bright when it comes to the future of Halo Infinite and the future of Halo in general. And I've always said that Halo Infinite is that breaking point for 343, and they need to make sure that this game goes out without a hitch and it's as best as it possibly can be. So, like I said, thank you for Microsoft and Xbox for providing the Iron Lords podcast with the review code that we did really break down this game. We wouldn't played it. I myself played about 15 to 20 hours. I did a lot of the stuff you can do. Now, I can't say I did everything in Halo Infinite, but I did play a good sizable amount of Halo Infinite. Now, clearly, we're not going to be really going too much into detail about the story of Halo Infinite because I'm not trying to ruin the experience for the viewers. I want you guys to experience a lot of this for yourself, but we will talk about whether or not I feel like the story and the narrative that was in the story lived up to my expectations when it came to Halo Infinite. Now, let's talk about Halo Infinite's story. Now, I played a good amount. I played the entire story. I went through a lot of the audio vlogs that was in this game. For those of you that don't know, when you're going through the game, you'll be picking up these audio vlogs, kind of like stuff that's in Dead Space, where it gives you a little bit more of a back history and some information that happened during what happened between 5 and Infinite. So I really enjoyed that. I did a lot of that. I did the entire story. I did a lot of the, the Far Cry formula people like saying, where you go through and you capture maps. And what I can actually say is I'm actually about in the middle when it comes to the story. I love what they did. I think it's a fantastic story and it's told well. But I do think because I am such a huge fan of the Halo franchise, and I've played Halo 5, I've played Halo 4, I played Halo Wars 2, I have a little bit more knowledge in terms of what's going on in the background with the lore than the average gamer would coming into Halo Infinite. Keep in mind, Halo Infinite is going to be on Game Pass, so a lot of people are going to go into this with brand new eyes that might not necessarily have played a Halo game in the past. And I think that's the thing that 343 did very well in this game. Sure, is it better for you to have played these older games and you don't know what's going on? Yes, I recommend everyone at least watch the cutscenes for Halo Wars 2, because I know that's not a first-person shooter, and some people aren't necessarily going to like the way that gameplay is given, because some people want what we're experiencing in Halo Infinite. And at least go back and play Halo 5, because you're going to understand a little bit more that's going into Halo Infinite. But do you need to play these games? I would say not. I feel like 343 probably went back and they said, look, clearly there wasn't a lot of people that was very impressed with the story of Halo 5. I, for myself, thought that it was very underwhelming, and I felt like there was a lot of little things they could have did to make that story a lot better. Clearly, we saw reused bosses. There was chapters with just talking to a couple people. So I think that 343 took it back and they're like, look, we really enjoy what's going on here. Let's make sure that whatever is in Halo Infinite is able to stand on its own merits. What I mean by that is when you play Halo Infinite, they give you enough background story to find out what happened in Halo 5, to find out what happened in Halo Wars 2. Sure, you might not know everything that goes on in this game when they talk about certain backstories, and you would have to play those games if you wanted to really know what they're talking about, but I don't think it's necessary for you to play these games to know 100% of what's going on. All you have to do is play Halo Infinite and you would be understanding on everything that's going on. Clearly, if you didn't play the Bungie ones and you didn't play Reach, you might be a little bit more confused than some other people, but I don't think you need to play those games to know what's going on. I think they did a really good job on telling Halo Infinite's story without knowing a whole lot of knowledge on what happened to Halo 5 and Halo Wars 2, and I think that's a really good thing because, like I said, this is coming into Game Pass, so I do think that they needed to have a good middle ground. Now, I would have expected a little bit more of, answers that I felt like should have been answered that wasn't. But keep in mind, this is more like most Halo games, most games in general, was like an Iron Man 1 through 3 references where, you're getting that story with those 3 movies. To here, it looks like this is going to be more of a, working your way up to the Avengers thing where, they're going to tell the Banish storyline. Then, maybe they'll tell another storyline in the future and et cetera, et cetera. I think that's probably how they're going to work this. I don't know. I'm just saying how I feel like the story looks like it's going to be gone. But I will say that a lot of people were very fearful when it come to Halo Infinite, my bad, is this game going to have a beginning, middle, and end? We saw a lot of references to Destiny. And Destiny is kind of a games as a service, tell the story throughout the years through expansions and through seasons, and then have that big moment at the end of that whole 10-year cycle. And to my opinion, it is going to be kind of like this in Halo Infinite, but I don't think it's going to be as bad as Destiny did it. When I played Halo Infinite, I did feel like they answered all the questions that I had for that particular game. Sure, I personally felt like they could have answered some more questions, particularly during Halo 5 and how certain things happened in Halo Infinite. But I understand why they didn't do it, because they wanted to make sure that everybody knew what was going on. I just personally felt like they could have did a little bit better on that kind of scenario. But at the end of the day, I do feel like they went out there and they achieved a very solid experience and a good narrative focused story that everyone's going to enjoy. I don't think no one's really going to play this game. They might nitpick it a little bit, because I did nitpick it a little bit, and I can't really go too much into that without spoiling it. But regardless of those nitpicks, I cannot tell you guys I didn't put this down. Like, I played this from beginning to end after I really got into it almost the entire time. I would go to sleep for like 6-7 hours, come right back, get right back on Halo Infinite. And usually when I do that, I'm hooked. And I really enjoyed this. I think you guys are in for a treat in terms of narrative and in Halo Infinite. I think they did a good job in terms of what you're going to be playing and how you're going to be really intaking the experience of Halo Infinite. The newer characters, such as weapons, such as the pilot, I think they did a fantastic job explaining to you where these people came from, who they are. They did good character developments between them, and I'm thinking you guys are going to like this. Now let's talk about the performance. As you guys know, I'm playing this on the Xbox Series X. I'm pretty sure everyone watching this video knew this. I'm pretty sure it's going to be the title. Usually have it in the title. I don't know. I ain't made the title yet, but I'm probably going to have it in the title. It played really good on the Xbox Series X. I did have some glitches that happened. Like, I remember there was one mission I did where it started me on a map, on a part of the map I couldn't currently get to where that mission was going down at. So that was a little weird. That happened a couple times, but when I reset the game and went back into it, I hit that last checkpoint and it didn't do it again. But I want you guys to be aware that happened. I don't know if that's like a huge thing. Now, keep in mind, I am playing this before the game came out, so these issues are most likely fixed, but I want you to be aware that there is some issues. Now, it wasn't a drastic amount of issues. For the most part, the game ran fantastic on the Xbox Series X, but I want you guys to know that Addict had some issues. And the game looks gorgeous. I can't say it's like jaw-dropping. I can't say it's a next-gen experience, because the game's not next-gen only. It's clearly on previous gen consoles. But I do think that there is like levels to this graphic stuff that people love talking about. There's the entry level. This entry you don't want to be. Developers, don't be here. Don't be this guy. Then there's the middle area. The games that look really nice but nothing special. It's eye candy but not real good eye candy. Then you got the eye candy. You got the games that look amazing. And you know, that's pretty much all I have to say about that. I don't think there's anything wrong with what the game looked. I know some of you might be disappointed how it looks because it doesn't look like other games. But I don't think every game needs to look identical to another game. I think the art choice and the art pattern that they went with this was for a reason. Because the Halo core audience wanted this style of art design when it comes to the Halo franchise. And I think for the most part, everyone's going to be happy with how this game looks. Is it going to satisfy everyone? Probably not. Most of the time you don't satisfy everyone. But I do think it's going to do enough where people are going to really enjoy what they see. Now let's talk about my all-time favorite. You guys know my favorite thing to talk about on this channel. I love talking about this on podcasts. Let's talk about the gameplay. Halo Infinite's gameplay is phenomenal. I loved it. I felt like there was so much freedom when you wanted to play Halo Infinite single player. And for the most part, the multiplayer is amazing too. We don't got a whole lot of issues in terms of the multiplayer, just some progression system issue, which we'll get to later on in the video. I just personally felt like Halo Infinite single player gave me freedom that I felt like when I play a game like Far Cry. Clearly, if you look at the game and you look at the story overview that's on YouTube, you could see there is some Far Cry inspirations going on here. Now, I will be one of those people with you. I'm with everyone that we're going to talk about whether or not Far Cry is a good fit for the Halo franchise and should it have been implied. I'm here to tell you that I think it actually did a pretty good job. I got it handed off to 343. I think maybe we're just getting tired of the Far Cry formula. And when I say we, I mean you guys, because I love Far Cry. I know a lot of people are getting tired of that type of formula, but I feel like it works well with Halo. You know, you got your bases that you take over. You got the people that you want to kill. They got the little targets above their head. And the more of the map you unlock, the more of these people you see. And the more of these bases you unlock, the people you kill, the squads that you save, you'll actually put up a currency in the game. It's not really a currency. I don't think you really spend it. It's kind of like a force of how present is the UNSC on this ring. And the higher that is, the more that you get. And the more that you'll walk around, you'll see Marines with snipers, Marines with rocket launchers. The more stuff that you can actually have delivered to you, such as Hornets, such as, well, you don't think you can get Banshees, but you guys get the point. The more of the participation on the map you do, the more stuff you'll have access to when you want to play the game. I love this. I really enjoyed this. Like, I'm not the biggest person on fetch quests, but I was fetching, man. I was going out there when you do the key targets and you go after these certain elite people that's in the Banished, they'll actually have a rare weapon with them. And if you defeat them, you'll have to take that weapon with you back to your base and you could call it at any time you want. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed the fact that I could go out there and get squads and get that currency or that level up as much as I want to. And that where I can call the Hornet I want. I can call the Warthog that I want. I like the fact that when I got all this stuff together and I got the Warthog out and they dropped it, when I got in there, I had a huge dude. I had a Marine next to me with a rocket launcher, another Marine on the Gatling gun, and together we did great things. And I really enjoyed that, and I felt like 343 did a good job on the world building on the Halo. But I do feel like they could have improved a little bit. I don't know why, but I hate when they give these type of forces that's on a map, but they don't really give an end game of why you need to go out and get that. What I mean by that is, look at Mass Effect 3. I played that this year. I know a lot of you that watch the podcast, you know that there's a huge thing on what's Mass Effect is the best Mass Effect. And I personally like that you do stuff in Mass Effect 3 and it adds on to your army. You get more people. I could have wanted something like that in this game. Maybe, you have a final battle in Halo Infinite, and the more that bar is lifted and the more it's higher, I would like a different result that would happen. Maybe instead of it being 30-on-1 with Master Chief, if you have that bar up and you take that army that you've been saving the whole game, I would like to actually see that army help me at the very last moment. Now, I'm not going to say that's like a deal breaker or anything. I do feel like they could have went a little bit more in detail on the world itself, building up to the final battles and the final missions in general. But I do think that, that's something that maybe you can look at later, 343. It would be cool that all the stuff that I did throughout the whole game mattered at the end. It mattered when it did go into the final mission, or, have that final attack where you're attacking the banners with everything you have. And then I'm not saying that those type of missions exist in this game. I'm saying that if they would have implied that kind of system, they could have put those in this game. And that's just, for future games, 343. But as far as the gameplay, I love the grappling hook. I love the shield. I mainly just use the grappling hook. I'm going to be real with you guys. But what I really enjoyed about this is the Banished are their own people. I love the boss fights, man. Guys, the boss fights. There is some serious boss fights in this game where you'll fight elites that are going invisible. You'll fight stuff like that. And what I really enjoy is the in-depth that you have fighting these, where you'll be fighting a brute that he has actual stages on his health. You get his stages down to a certain point and he changes it up. He switches it up. He don't fight you the same way till he dies. I like that. They sometimes throw two of them at you at the same time. I really enjoy the difficulty that was in Halo Infinite. I started on Legendary, but I went back down to Heroic about maybe 70-80% through the game because I wanted to really experience a lot of this game. And I got to the point where it wasn't necessarily hard, but I was definitely spending more time than I would want to. I wanted to get a good amount of time so I could come here and give you guys my opinion. And I personally felt like if I kept playing on Legendary, I was going to pull my hair out. And I'm already got this receding hairline, you guys. Like, I can't pull more hair out. I got to keep my hair the way it is. But I feel like you guys are going to enjoy some of the boss battles, the difficulty in general when it comes to Halo Infinite. Because when you come across a hunter in Halo Infinite, you feel the threat that this hunter is supposed to be. You feel it. Now, sure, I do think that you should play this in Heroic off the bat because normal is pretty easy. But if you play this in Heroic or higher, you're going to get a really good, decent, difficult out of this game. Now let's talk about, clearly, the elephant in the room, the multiplayer. I personally have enjoyed every bit of the multiplayer. I feel like it is one of the most balanced out multiplayers that Halo's had in a very, very long time. Is it perfect? No. I feel like there's certain guns that need to be nerfed. I don't know what it's called, but the spike gun, when she's a giant spike, that needs to be nerfed. I don't feel like any gun in Halo should kill someone if it's not a headshot with one shot. And that gun, you can shoot them in the elbow, it'll kill them one shot. Shoot them in the leg, it'll kill them in one shot. So I feel like that might be nerfed a little bit. I feel like the commando needs to be buffed a little bit. And, besides that, I actually feel like the weapon balance of Halo Infinite is pretty good. Now, obviously, maybe some of the Covenant stuff needs to be buffed a little bit because I don't really use that very often. So maybe that needs to be buffed a little bit. And I don't really enjoy the BR starts in ranked. I know that's just my problem, and I know that's how Halo is, but I've never liked that. I've never liked a game mode that really demands people use one weapon and one weapon only. I recommend everyone go to a ranked match or watch someone play a ranked match if you don't play ranked match. Look at the bottom left, like right here on the screen, and you're going to see BR, 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 BR. Very rarely do people use anything else besides that BR in ranked, and I get it. That's everyone's favorite go-to weapon, but I love the BR. But I like a more diverse Halo. And unless it's a BR or some kind of power weapon occasionally, you're just going to see BR over and over again down there, and I'm not down for that. Now, when it talks about the microtransactions and the progression of the game and the challenges, let's address the microtransactions first. They're pretty crazy. I feel like, they need to be tweaked a little bit. Maybe stuff shouldn't be so expensive. And if it is expensive, make it to where there's a way to actually unlock the stuff in game. I know that people probably playing Halo Infinite aren't used to the Fortnite formula and what that structure is, but that's pretty much what's going on here. Now, I feel like the pricing of the microtransactions isn't the issue, it's more of the progression. And, let's go over the progression a little bit. I feel like the progression is in slight needs of tweaking. I feel like you need to be rewarded for winning, first off. They did go through there and did an emergency patch where they gave you 50 XP for winning games in general. Well, I mean, just for playing games in general. So if you think about it, like, it's really crazy that 343 didn't think rewarding players whatsoever for playing a game was going to be essential, and they had to actually go back and fix that post-launch. I think, they definitely need to really idolize and think about what they do here going out forward. Now, they did have a temporarily patch where you get rewarded for every game you play throughout the day. I think it's up to 8. And then after that 8, you get the standard 50 points. I think that it needs to be expanded a little bit. I think you need to get rewarded for double kills, triple kills, anything that you're doing extra that is making you an essential teammate. If you're playing any form of objective-based games, take away a little bit on the double, triple kill, still give a little bit of points, but don't give as much as, maybe capturing a zone or, capturing a flag. You want to reward the people playing the objective in the actual games. You want to reward them more than people that just go around killing people. And I think that's the biggest issue that I see in Halo Infinite's objective games, is that you're getting a lot of unbalanced teams because people aren't playing the objective. Now, I can't say that's a Halo issue by itself, because it's not. There's a lot of issues going on in general when it comes to first-person shooters, or hell, even just multiplayer games in general. When you have an objective match, a lot of people seem to want to kill people instead of actually playing the objective. But I feel like if you set the progression system up a little bit to where you reward people drastically for playing the objective and reward people okay with just killing people, you're going to have a little bit of a balance out there. Now, let's talk about the challenges a little bit. There is challenges that you get to unlock and to get more of the progression in the battle pass. Now, how the battle pass is, it's $10. You get to have access to probably 99 to 100 items of stuff. Now, that won't be an issue, but the issue is originally you were supposed to do these challenges to level up. Now, I will say I can see a little bit where 343 was coming from with this. As you can see, if you look on there, a lot of them are worth 200 to 300 a pop, and there's a lot of weekly challenges every week. And if you do all the weekly challenges, you get a special cosmetic item for that week. Now, I think that's the way that they're going to be rewarding people here going forward, so you don't have to actually go out and buy stuff. But they need to be more vocal about stuff like that. If they're going to put some of the stuff that's in the store now that you could just go out there and buy, just come out and be vocal that these will be in that weekly challenge. You just got to make sure you do all the weeklies for that challenge. Now, let's talk about the weekly challenges themselves, because I'm a huge Destiny player, and I cannot stand when you demand people to go out of their comfort zone and play the game how they would not normally play the game. And I feel like we're getting a lot of that in Halo Infinite. For instance, they want you to play with certain guns. They want you to play certain matches. The problem with that is you're going to have people that aren't really, they're not comfortable with these type of guns. And when you make people play with guns they're not comfortable with, what are you going to have? Unbalanced teams. You're going to have people going for the challenges over actually playing the objectives, or just going for kill in general and Slayer. You're gonna have people that quit games because they're not getting the right game mode that they want. Now, if they want to fix the game mode thing and keep that in the rotation for the challenges, they're going to have to imply some type of voting system that was used to be in the old Halos. That way you can vote the map you want, and then below that you can vote what type of game mode you want, so you feel like you're a little bit more in control of what type of game you want to play. Now, I'm not going to say that it's the end of the world with Halo Infinite and the way they did the multiplayer. I feel like the gameplay is there, it's there. The foundation of Halo Infinite is definitely there, and that's good, because to me, the stuff that's wrong with the game is a couple months of a fix to tweak stuff around. Maybe their original vision wasn't something that, we were going to, as Halo fans and gamers in general, accept. Now that they know that, let's see what they do in the next couple months to fix that progression system. And I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt, because they gave me such a solid foundation in terms of gameplay. Now, overall, you guys know how I feel. You guys know, Addict, is this something that you feel like lived up to the expectations of Halo Infinite? And I'm going to be honest with you guys, it did. Like, sure, I had a little bit of things where I didn't enjoy some of the stuff that they did in Halo Infinite's campaign. And it was more towards narrative focus, but it wasn't really the narrative itself. I just felt like there were certain things that I wanted more answers from previous games going into this, being a Halo fan that's played previous Halo games. But besides that little nitpick, and I do think that is a nitpick because at the end of the day, I do feel like they told a beginning, middle, and end in terms of the, let's say, the vanilla of Halo Infinite. And that's all I ever really wanted. If you guys remember on Iron Lore's podcast, every week at 11 a.m. during the football season right now and 1 p.m. without the football season, you know that I've been very, very vocal of the only thing I want is a Halo Infinite campaign that has a solid beginning, middle, and end. And I do feel like Halo Infinite, for the most part, had a great beginning, a great middle, and a great end. It's just they needed to put, like, sprinkles a little bit more of information throughout the end to satisfy my Halo lore nut case, because that's what I am at this point. I just want more Halo information. That's what it really is. And hopefully within the next 6 months to a year, they open up more information on certain things. They opened up more events, more story oriented narrative in general, and we'll get a lot more of those answers that I want. Because at the end of the day, I think it's not necessarily that I want that they're not going to give me those answers to the stuff that I want. It's just, this is a different form of Halo than we've ever seen. This is one of those Halos where you play throughout the next couple years, and it's like I said, it's not necessarily an Iron Man 1, 2, and 3. This is more of working our way up to the Avengers, to where every 6 months to a year they give us that new content information, and they let us play something else that's going to keep expanding on the Halo Infinite universe until we eventually get to that point at the very end of Halo Infinite in their story, maybe 5 to 7 years from now. I know that sounds crazy. I don't know if it's 5 to 7 years. I don't even know if they're going to do stuff 6 months to a year. I'm throwing out random numbers, but I feel like that's the way it's going to go. And that is when you're going to feel like you've got all the information throughout the entire time you've been playing Halo Infinite. I think they did a good job, guys. I think Halo Infinite is definitely worth playing. It is an amazing experience that I really enjoyed, from the multiplayer and how great the gameplay was, and how great the actual feel of Halo was, and the good middle ground balance that they were able to achieve by satisfying people like me over here and satisfying the casual audience over here. Sure, sometimes it leans one way to another, but I feel like for the most part, everyone's happy on what the gameplay of Halo's multiplayer is. For sure, the progression needs to change. 343, change the progression. I do feel like you've done enough to get yourself a little bit of a holiday break, man. Go spend time with the family. It's not that important. We have a great foundation of gameplay, but 343, when you come back next year, you got to really hit the ground floor and get this progression system fixed. Maybe even have a limit. Sure, you don't want to give us a bunch of things, because, sir, let's be real here. Some people are going to be killing it in that multiplayer, and you don't want to give them 600-700 points for getting a bunch of double kills, triple kills. Give a limit, like 300. If you do a certain amount of medals, at 300 your max, you get an extra 300 depending on your performance, and stacked out on top of everything else. But anyway, you guys, that's the review for Halo Infinite. I think it's a solid experience. I think it's worth everyone playing. And I think if you're a Halo fan, you're going to enjoy this. If you're not a Halo fan, you're going to enjoy this. But like I said, guys, definitely go out there and try it out. It's in Game Pass. I think, for Game Pass, you can always dip your toes in there, see if you enjoy it a little bit. And if you really enjoy it and you really want to support the devs, you can always go out there and buy the actual campaign, or you can just go out there and buy it. It's up to you. I would suggest, it's definitely worth the buy. But if you want to get that Game Pass, I don't blame you, man. I don't blame you. But anyway, I appreciate everyone for coming through, man. This is the review on Halo Infinite, the single player and multiplayer, the whole package. I reviewed it all. I do feel like it's worth your money, like I said. Definitely put a comment section below. How did you feel about Halo Infinite? If you're watching this after the game came out and you've already beat it, tell me your guys' opinion on some of the things that's in the comment section below. And I try to keep it away from spoilers. And anyone watching this, if there's any spoilers, I cannot help it. So definitely beware of the comment section below. Hit that like button if you guys enjoyed it. And always catch the Iron Lords podcast every Sunday at 11 p.m. Eastern when we're doing football, and 1 p.m. when football is no longer in session. And until next time, this is Lord Addict. I've reviewed Halo Infinite. I'm out.